Good day everyone, I am Ayesha A. Maragon and today we're going to discuss Chapter 11 entitled Diversity in Designing and Assessing Learning Activities. So sa previous na chapter, you have learned the ways in which individuals differ from each other. And in this chapter, it will teach you and give suggestions or principles to guide or to how to deal the children with special needs, as well as unsaon mo pag-design ang classroom environment as future teacher despite sa mga optimum and limitations sa kabata. So ang kaning chapter, it is all about understanding the differences among students and how these differences affects the way should design and assess learning activities. So, we all know nga ang mga students nasa lay differences in their abilities, their backgrounds, and their needs. So, because of this, ang teacher must learn and understand each student characteristics, use best and most suitable strategies to teach them, create a classroom environment where everyone can learn even if they have limitations, and lastly, apply principles that helps children with special needs succeed. So, in simpler terms, the teacher should adjust their teaching methods and activities to fit the diverse needs of students so that everyone can learn effectively. Our intended learning outcome for today is to draw the implications of diversity in designing and assessing learning activities. Now let's move on to framework rationale of learning-centered teaching. So, si Howard Gardner, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence and other theories that espouse on multiplicity of intelligence as basis for selecting the best teaching methods and approaches. So we all know that there are so many methodologies, there are so many approaches and techniques that aim to maximize and the potential and improve academic performance sa estudyante. So the challenge for the teacher is selecting and applying the most effective method for teaching learners with diverse characteristics. And because students are different from each other, the teacher must choose the best teaching method that fits their abilities, interests, and learning style. So one idea that helps teachers in Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, which says that students are smart in different ways. So they are some students are smart in music, in art, in math, and in people skills or sports. Knowing these differences helps teacher to choose the right activities for each lesson. So a learner-centered teaching is claimed to be at the core of effective classroom. So, ang learner-centered teaching means nga the students are focused in the classroom, not just the teacher. So, instead nga ang teacher kay maghatag siya og information, ang kanang maghatag siya og kanang answers to the students, the teacher should also encourage the students to participate, explore, and ask questions, and discover things on their own. So, ang learning, so a significant idea of this framework is that learning becomes more meaningful when topics are related to the students' lives, experiences, needs, and interests. And when students are actively engaged in creating, understanding, and connecting to knowledge. Students have a higher motivation to learn if they know and feel they have a stake and control over their learning. Essentially, learners are considered as a co-creators in the learning process, as individuals with ideas and issues that deserve attention and consideration. So, learning becomes easier and more meaningful when it is connected to the students' real lives, interests, and experiences. So, ang mga students is they learn better when they feel nga they have a voice, they have a choice in what and how they learn. So, students also work together, share ideas, and learn from different viewpoints. The teacher guides, supports, and provide activities but does not control everything. So every students help create their learning like co-author for the lesson. For example, the teacher should connect the teacher should connect the lessons to the real life activities or in daily activities of the students. For example, instead of kanang for example in kanang sa math kung saan niya pagtudlo ang estudyante. So kung magtudlo siya sa bata about addition, pwede niya magamit siya storytelling about a mother nga ni palit siya og kaning mga groceries. That is also an example of adding and subtracting where makita niya ang budgeting unsaon pag-add sa mga gipangpalit o pag-minus sa ilahang money. Next, we come to the benefits of implementing methodologies aligned with the important aspects of learner-centered teaching. So we have first, helps in designing effective instruction for every member of the classroom, irrespective of diverse learning needs. So, or in simpler terms, helps teachers create lessons that fits all students' need. So, learner-centered teaching makes the teacher focused on student first before the content. So, this means that lessons are designed to match different learning styles, different abilities, and different needs of the students so everyone can learn, not just few. So, for example, a teacher gives visual learners pictures or videos, auditory learners discussions, and hands-on learners activities. Number 2, learner-centered teaching has been proven effective in teaching students the materials they need to know. Or in simpler terms, increases student motivation, learning, and performance. When lessons focuses on the students' interests and let them participate actively, students become more excited to learn. They learn the topics better and perform well because they are more involved. For example, in science class, instead of just reading about the plants, students grow their own plants and observe changes daily. This makes them more motivated. Number 3, learner-centered teaching makes the students feel good about themselves. So, it builds students' self-confidence. So, learner-centered teaching allows students to share their experiences, their ideas, and discoveries. So, when ang student see that their thoughts matters and are used in class, they feel good about themselves and become more confident. For example, a student kay nag-share siya og real-life story related sa usa ka topic nga gihatag sa teacher. And the teacher uses it as the part of the discussion. Then the student feels valued. Now let's move on to the approaches that promote a learner-centered teaching. We have A, cooperative learning, B, active learning, C, authentic learning, and D, cognitive apprenticeship. So, these approaches let the students' needs and interests determine the kind of material to be learned. In addition, these approaches let the students themselves know how they will learn the material. We have first, letter A, cooperative learning. So, sa cooperative learning, Students learn by working together using each other's strength. So for example, sa group project, sa usa ka grupo nag-consist siya og 4 ka students. So sa usa ka students kay na ay nag-draw, ang isa pod kay na ay nag-research, ang isa na ay nag-present, ug ang isa na ay nagsulat. So that is what we call cooperative learning. Next is active learning. So it means that students learn by doing, participating, and engaging in activities, not just by listening. So for example, kanang mga role play. Another example is kanang mga debates or discussion. And lastly, mga experiments. That is what we call active learning, where students is makalearn sila by doing and participating in that activities. Next, we have authentic learning. So authentic learning, it means that learning is connected to real-life situation using real or local resources. So for example, ani is kanang mga interviews or mga research or kaning mga local environmental study. That is what we call authentic. Authentic, that is that means that it means that learning that is connected to real life situation. And lastly, we have the cognitive apprenticeship. So it means that students learn by being guided by a mentor or a coach while they explore their own learning goals. So for example, kay as a teacher, nahimo siyang coach, na mga peer mentoring, na mga project mentorship. That is approaches nga makapromote as a learner-centered environment. Now, let's move on to creating appropriate classroom environments for children with special needs. So, we have first, for children with learning disabilities. So, in the future classroom, we will have a mix of students, some with special needs and some without. So, this means that there will be many different abilities, learning styles, and needs in one class. So, ang teacher may not always have special training to handle all types of special needs. And that is okay. What is important is that what's important is that there is a general guidelines teachers can follow to make the classroom a safe, supportive, and a helpful place to everyone. So there are also different teaching methodologies and strategies that can be used to help students with specific needs, whether they need more time, special tools, simpler explanations, and different activities so that they can participate. So as a teacher, first we have for children with learning disabilities. So children with learning disabilities have difficulty sustaining their attention, and they easily get distracted with different stimuli. As such, the teacher should exert effort to make this classroom simply arranged, uncluttered, and quiet. The classroom should not be too bright nor too dark. It would do well to avoid or minimize the presence of competing stimuli. So, the teacher should keep the classroom simply not distracting. So, children with learning disabilities get distracted easily. So, the classroom should be quiet, it should be organized, and not full of visuals or noise. For example, a teacher must keep the chairs and materials arranged neatly. And mag-avoid siya og mga loud noises or kanang mga bright, kanang mga flashing, mga decorations, kay in that kanang materials, ma-distract jud ang mga children with learning disabilities. Next, we have children with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder or ADHD. So this is a common attribute of individuals with ADHD is the inability to focus, to pay attention, and to keep still and keep quiet. Generally, these students lag behind their classmates in academic performance because of their lack of focus and attention on their classroom. So, uh, children with ADHD have trouble focusing, staying still, and keeping quiet. So they often fall behind in school. So a teacher can help them by changing the classroom setup and giving support. First, the teacher should arrange their work schedule wisely. So ang mga teacher kay mag-set sila og kanang schedule nila. For example, sa buntag kay kanang magdo sila og kanang mga energetic nga mga activities kay since ang mga children nga na ADHD, energetic kay na sila sa kanang sa morning. So sa afternoon na pod kay maghatag siya og mga tasks where magamit ang kaning cognitive sa kabata. Next, kay sit them in a good place. Put their desks away from noisy areas like the door. So, a teacher kay i-arrange niya ang sitting arrangements sa mga bata. So sa nabantayan niya nga ang iyang estudyante is na ADHD is ibutang or i-place niya siya sa katong layo sa portahan para dili siya ma-distract. Teach them how to pay attention. So, remind them to look at the teacher, listen carefully, and avoid distractions. 4. Allow movement and physical activities. So, since they are hyperactive, they need short breaks to move. Let them do tasks like closing windows, picking up materials, and helping organize the classroom. This releases extra energy. Next, help them stay organized. Give them daily schedules or step-by-step routines or simply to-do lists so they can finish more tasks. 6 is set clear rules and expectation. So teachers should clearly teach what behavior is acceptable and what is not. Rewards should be given for good behaviors and consequences for inappropriate behavior. In this way, it helps them to understand classroom rules better. Next, we have for children with special and communication disorder. So, the children with speech and communication disorder may have trouble speaking clearly or expressing ideas or even understanding language. Because of this, they often feel shy, they often feel embarrassed and afraid to talk in class. So teachers need to help them feel safe and confident. The teacher should encourage them to speak, give them extra support in academic tasks, much materials in their reading level, present lesson in simple and different ways. So, ang teacher mag-use siya og mga clear, mga simple language, and break lesson into smaller and easy steps. Next is for children with emotional or behavioral problems. Next we come to the for children with emotional and behavioral problems. So, it would do well for the teacher to enhance their students' achievement and improve their social relationship. Foremost is for teacher to show interest in the well-being and welfare of the students. So as a teacher, the teacher should be keen in identifying the interests of these students because they tend to get more involved in classroom activities that are along their line of interest. More importantly, these students should be provided with a sense of feeling that they can exercise some control in their lives. Thus, the need to minimize or avoid situations of power struggle. Given the emotional condition of these children, the teacher should be keen and alert on looking for signs of neglect or abuse at home, like kanang physical injuries, bruises, untreated medical needs, and the likes. The teacher should be alert for warning signs that the student may be contemplating something serious like suicide or self-harm. Some of these signs are withdrawal, sudden change in mood, or disregard for personal appearance. Next, we have for children with uh, autism. So, children with autism often struggle with social skills. They may not understand social cues like facial expression, tones of voice, gestures, which can cause them to behave in ways others find unusual. But they are usually very good in visual and spatial tasks that can be seen and organized. So the teacher should keep the classroom predictable. So that the students feel safe when things stay the same. So the teacher should avoid changing the room arrangement. And a stable familiar environment helps them calm and comfortable. Number 2, keep routines regular. So as students with autism do better when they know what to expect or a clear daily schedule or kanang routine. And lastly, mag-use ka og ng mga visuals for teaching. Mas makakaton sila sa mga pictures, mga kanang objects, mga drawings, o kanang sa mga videos. Next, we have for children with social and behavioral disorders. So, the children with social and behavioral disorder usually lack interpersonal social skills. They have difficulty interpreting social clues. As such, they should be taught interpersonal skills. So, the children with social and behavioral disorders often have trouble getting along with others because they cannot easily understand social cues like tone, facial expression, or body language. So, the teachers need to help them learn how to interact properly. So, i-encourage ni teacher ang iyang social skills through kaning mga groupings or kaning mga activities or group activities, or maghatag siya kanang mga clear nga rules and mga consistent consequences so that it will guide them toward appropriate behavior. So next we have for children with mental retardation. So for children with mental retardation or intellectual disabilities, for children with mental retardation learn best when lessons are slow and clear. So they need more time and understand and complete tasks, which help them feel success. So as a teacher, tagaan nimo sila task that or guidean nimo sila or tagaan nimo sila step by step process para maka-catch up sila sa class. So first, ang teacher should teach slowly and clearly. Maghatag ka og kanang instructions in step by step procedure, or maghatag ka og task that is easy for them to understand. Number 2, tagaan nimo sila enough time para mo answer or mo respond sa imong kanang question. Third is include practical skills. So, in short, children with mental retardation need slow, clear lessons, extra time to complete tasks, and practical life skills to help them succeed in school and beyond. Then next is for children with physical and sensory impairments. So, for children with physical or sensory impairments like mobility, vision, and hearing problems face challenges in learning. And teachers should understand their limitation, be patient, and help them participate as much as possible. So, sa mga students nga na ay visual impairment, show them the classroom layout and where important things are. Use untouchable objects and other senses to teach, and give extra time for learning and completing tasks. So, ang mga teacher mas tagaan nimo sila og kanang mga object nga kay na siya mga students kanay visual impairments it is much better for the teacher to give them nga kanang mga scripts nga kanang ma-touch nila, that is kanang para mas masabtan or padunggon sila o kanang mga auditory nga discussion. Next, for students naman nga naay mga hearing impairment, ang teacher mag-use naman og visual aid. That is opposite naman po siya sa mga student nga naay visual impairment. So, there is a hearing impairment, ang mga teacher is kanang ihang discussion or kanang learning materials should be kanang in bigger size para mas makita nila, or kanang mas klaro, or kanang mas klaro nga mga prints nga kanang mga fonts. And for students with severe or multiple disabilities naman, i-pair nimo sila sa mga friends nila or mga peers for activities. And lastly, give access to the same learning opportunities as other students. Avoid overhelping. Assist only when necessary. So, overall, ang students with physical or sensory impairments, the teacher needs patience and accessibility. The teacher needs patience, and the students need accessibility, appropriate support, and use visual, tactile, or technological aids. And that's all. Thank you for listening.